Hello there. Hello. Welcome to 50 Women Over 50. I'm your host. I'm Sherrilynne Starkie. And on this show, I highlight women who have broken barriers, challenged the status quo, or have simply lived remarkable lives beyond the age of 50. My guests have included pioneering entrepreneurs, passionate activists, artists, educators, and more. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered as together we extol the lives of 50 exceptional women over 50. Today, I'm welcoming to the show Brigitta Hoeferle. She's the CEO of the Centre of NLP, one of the world's largest self-development companies. She's a woman who, at every age, has taken on life's challenges on her own terms, and her 50s have been no different. At the core of her success is her belief that life is just for living, and she does that with energy and enthusiasm every single day. Tell me about your 50th birthday.
My 50th birthday falls on Iris Apfel's 100th birthday. I don't know if you're familiar with Iris Apfel. She's like my icon. I love her. Look her up. She is this fabulous woman. Her style is amazing. I want to be Iris Apfel when I grow old, and that's going to be a very, very long time. My family likes to say 50 is the new 37. 37 is our lucky number in our family. And so when I celebrated my 50th, my family redid like an Iris Apfel same day. We share a birthday. Her 100th was my 50th, and she had like this big silver 100 balloons behind her, and they gave me a 50, and we took pictures. And it was a whole ordeal. It was a lot of fun. I felt celebrated, but I didn't feel like 50. I remember my sister, who's 10 years older than me, celebrating her 50th birthday, and she fell into this deep mood. And I remember I was 40 at the time, like, okay, come on. I mean, really, it's really not that bad. And I made a conscious decision then, and I have made conscious decisions before that when I grow old, I'm just going to grow old with dignity, but I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to be this grumpy old German grandma, which I don't know what it is with old German people. They're all grumpy. That's not my destiny. That's not who I am. I'm just going to grow old with fun and with dignity. And if I have wrinkles, I'll have wrinkles and I'll still look good. I mean, look at Iris Apfel again. My 50th birthday was a great day. It was a great day to be had, and had many birthdays after that. And they're just numbers.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I mean, it's a great attitude to have that they are just numbers, because they actually, the older you get, the more you understand that the numbers seem more important when you're younger looking up at them than when you're older looking back at them. That's for sure. Did anything surprise you about life over 50?
I was going to say hot flashes. I'm ready for them to leave. Like right now.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I've always had this attitude of I'm unapologetically me. And the older I grow, the more I realize what that really means. Because I have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Right.
And I wish we women over 50 could bottle that and give it to our younger women.
Mm-hmm.
How powerful would that be?
Yeah. Yes, I agree. That's why one of the questions I asked all the ladies I interview, and I'm asking you now, is what advice would you give to your 30-year-old self?
Yeah, don't give an F. Just do. Just be. Just if you say this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be, don't look on social media, who has done that and who is that, because that's only one version of that person or of that business. And B, it might not even be what they're portraying on social media in the first place. Everyone else has taken, this is a conversation I've had with my children, and they're one's graduating tomorrow and the other one moved back to Germany to really fulfill her career. In their entire life, I have been teaching and modeling them and talking to them Be you. You don't need to fit in. You're not meant to fit in. You're meant to stand out, and being comfortable standing out. That's a big confidence to have, especially as a young woman. And for some reason, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to do it anyway. I did that. I always sewed my own clothes when I was young. I was okay with standing out because we talked about high school earlier before this interview. No one in high school liked me.
Oh, right.
I was like, what? I'm not going to be liked anyway. So I might as well just do what I want to do and how I want to be in the first place, because I have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Right.
And that really shaped me. And that took a lot of effort. That took a lot of daily convincing myself to not fall into, but shouldn't you be Brigitta like everyone else? Follow the herd? No, why?
What made you decide to move to the US?
To build a Montessori school, because I did not want my children to go to a school where they're not going to be liked, where they're going to be pigeonholed, and where they're going to be bullied. So it was a complete projection on my part that might happen in the future of my children. So I decided to break that pattern right from the get-go and build a Montessori school. Because when I went to university and I learned all about education science and social pedagogy, we learned a little bit, just a tad, about Maria Montessori. And I was like, whip, stop the record. Who is this person? Yes. And how come I am now hearing of her? Why did I not get the chance to go to a Montessori school? Looks like, sounds like, feels like that's the school that was meant for me. Because I was the round peg that they were trying to pound into a square opening. Yes. And it just would not fit. And it sounded like Maria Montessori created a school, a methodology for children to be who they truly want to be. And I was like, I want that for my children. So the trying out turned into now 20 years of living in the U.S.
Where in the U.S. are you?
So the school is in Tennessee. And 6 years ago, I decided to get out of the day-to-day operations at the school, and we moved to Atlanta. So we moved from Midtown Munich to a small town in Tennessee to then come to Atlanta to live in a city again.
What are you doing these days then?
I went from teaching children to teaching adults, because I realized working with children and working with parents that it's the children are innocent. They're innocent by nature. It's the adults around them that either shape them or screw them up.
Yes, 100%. My daughter's a teacher. She says the hardest part of her job is managing the parents.
That's exactly, those are my words. So I was like, wait a minute. And I came to a point where I was really burned out. Building the business, having 2 small children, 13 years, that was hard. That was hard work. And I was ready to step away from the day-to-day operations. And the minute I stepped away and I found someone that had more passion, more drive, more purpose in running the school than me, and I was like, wait a minute, that person really exists? I didn't even think that person would exist.
Crazy.
I know, crazy. What happens when you're ready to step away to let that be filled? The minute I stepped away and I realized it's the adults around our children, I really want to do more work with the adults. And that's when one of my mentors called me up and he said, hey, I established this business in 1986. I'm ready to let go of it. I've been watching you. You have been invited to speak on stages around the world. Do you want to buy my business? And I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't looking at buying another brick and mortar. But what if the universe put something in your lap? I'm the last one to say, nope, no, thank you. I said, yeah, let's meet. And we met up and here I am. So I teach adults how to listen better and how to communicate better.
I see behind you there, it's NLP. Is that neuro-linguistic programming?
That's neuro-linguistic programming. Right. Yes. So one of my mentors learned directly from the founder, Richard Bandler, and he was one of the first centers in the U.S. that opened up in 1986, the Centre of NLP. And I knew working with him, and I went through the practitioner and the master and the trainer and coach. And I took all of his courses. And I knew working with him that there were a lot of people that said, I want to buy your business. I want to buy your business. And he was like, no, I'm not selling. No, I'm not selling. I never really was inclined to buying his business. But he eventually sought me out and he said, if I would ever sell my business to anyone, it would be you. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think you wanted to sell. Cool. Let's look at it. And I'm carrying the torch, very proud, because it's been established for that long. And I see the difference that it makes. Who was it, Sherrilynne? I believe the children are our future. Was that Whitney Houston?
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah. So she's saying, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Yes, I agree with that. And if we as the adults don't model how to lead and how to behave and how to conquer life, then how the heck are they supposed to know? It starts with us. It doesn't start with our kids. It starts with me right now. It started with me when I had my children 20 some years ago.
Yes, yes. And who are your clients? Like, who are you working with?
I started working out with parents. That was hard. Now I work with corporations. I work with corporate trainers. I work with business leaders. I work with entrepreneurs. I work with moms that are juggling. I like to say juggling chainsaws. They're business owners, mom of kids, wife to a husband, juggling all of those chainsaws.
Yes, yes. I'm kind of familiar with that paradigm. For sure, for sure. I have a question though.
Yeah.
I know about NLP. I mean, I've done some training and stuff back in the past life and stuff, but I feel like this was like in the mid 90s when I first discovered it. I've always wondered why we don't teach this stuff in school. Like, why do you have to wait till you're 5 years into your career before this kind of information is revealed to you?
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And here's my answer to that. Because my children and our youngest is about to graduate from an entrepreneurial high school here in Atlanta. It's a small little private high school. And I've even had this conversation with the director of that, because both of my children went through that high school. Why are we not teaching this to our children? And as I was meeting with him, I realized this is such an incredibly powerful tool. When I say it, I mean neurolinguistic programming. And for the ones that don't know what that is, it's a communications methodology. It's basically the meta program and the foundation of our language. And we either have learned it because our parents and the people around us have taught it in a very supportive way, or we have learned and picked up some of the very limiting communication patterns that we all have. And what I just said was just an absolute example. What we all have, that means that's a generalization, and I make it mean that everyone has it, which we actually do. And to that point, in our communication, we all delete, distort, and generalize information.
Yes.
And we do a combination of all three. And when we can realize of how we delete, distort, and generalize information and listen to that, we can uncover and recover violations in our communication. I know that was a mouthful. So back to your question, why are we not teaching this? It is a powerful tool. And some kids might just not be ready for it. Mm-hmm. Some kids and I can think of 3 kids right now in my daughter's class. They will take this, they will eat it up, and they will use it to their advantage only.
Yes. Okay.
And that makes that makes my skin crawl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to be so the other third of the class or of the kids that learn that will say, what, this is great. And yes, Brigitta, I agree with you. It has to be used in a win-win-win situation. So a win for you, a win for me, a win for the greater good. Mm-hmm. But there are going to be people out there that are going to use it for their win only.
Yes.
For to satisfy their ego, to satisfy their needs only and bulldoze over other people. And that's what makes my skin crawl.
Right.
That's the reason why I think the director and I both stepped away of, we cannot teach this yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I understand exactly what you're saying. What are you most hopeful about for the future then?
That our children are the way, and that there is a future, and that there are, I think the biggest hope right now, and I see that trend in my children, is that social media is wearing off. And I'm kind of future pacing that and keeping my fingers crossed, and is being taken with a grain of salt, that it's being taken to market to create win-win-wins. But for our future, for our kids, our grown-up kids, to realize it's not all the shiny objects. I can question the status quo, and I can be okay with questioning the status quo. I can be okay with voicing my opinion. I can be okay with not being liked by everyone and yet being included. It's not one or the other.
Yes.
We have come into such a polarization of, you either like me and you agree with, or you do not agree with me and therefore you do not like me. I don't know when we decided that has to be that way. I can still disagree with someone and really like them.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. And my view on this is that the polarization that you see in social media or even in mainstream media is an exaggerated version of polarization of what people actually feel. It's conflict makes drama, it sells copy. The humans that I meet in life do not have these extreme views of left and right, and we hate them, and they hate us, and we're one tribe, and like I'm not experiencing that, and I don't think any of us. I mean, there are going to be exceptions, that there are people that are very polarized, but they're dominating the conversation, especially online. They're dominating the conversation online because those of us who don't feel that drama personally, we don't have the energy to be on Twitter 8-10 times a day saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Like we got other fish to fry, right? So,
Sherrilynne, could it be that because you are not seeking that drama, that you're just not surrounding yourself with people? Because that's what I'm seeing in my life.
Well, we just had a municipal election here in my town, and which is Ottawa, the capital of Canada, by the way. And it was municipal. And I tell you, if you did an analysis of the Twitter activity in the run up to that election, you would have thought one candidate had this election hands down. But no, the other candidate, the one that nobody was shouting about or anything on social media, won. I think the ratio was 3-1 votes. Got 3/4 of the votes, even though all the noise on Twitter was for the opponent. And so I just think that people, like you said, we're getting past the social media thing. Like people that maybe used to participate on social media, they're over it now. They're not doing it. Social media has cannibalized itself. It's turned itself into nothing more than an advertising platform anyway. And people can only take so much of this buy my stuff. And I say that like social media is my business. So I know a lot about it. And so I think that this polarization it's real, but I feel like it's not as extreme as you're given to believe by looking on social media or in the mainstream media. That's what I hope anyway.
Yeah. Well, bottom line, I just don't partake. Period.
Yes, you don't. Not even for your business.
No, social media, I do partake. I don't partake in the drama and the polarization.
Yes, that's right. Well, that is the one thing about social media that I hang on to. I always say, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. It brings a lot of benefits as well as risks. But one thing is that you're always in control. You're in control of what you see. And if you don't like it, unfollow, block, whatever, and just make social media work for you in the way that you want it to work for you.
Yeah.
What are you doing for fun these days?
I'm going to go to the beach soon. I haven't been to the beach all year. I realized that the other day. Beach is my happy place. Sun, sun, sand, and water is my absolute happy place. And maybe because I didn't grow up with sun, sand, and water. There was a lot of snow, a lot of rain, a lot of gray, a lot of cold.
Yes.
And I made a conscious decision when we moved to the States to move somewhere where it is actually warm.
Yes.
My husband, it took a while for him to get used to the humidity.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The humidity. Yeah.
And I love it. Like literally my skin loves the humidity. So that's one thing that I really love. I love to just cut up and have fun and dance with my girls, my children. They sometimes send me like a TikTok and they say, "Oh, we have to do this." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." I have no problem making an absolute fool of myself. I don't take myself that serious. And that's just part of me. And then, of course, we're going to celebrate our daughter who is graduating from high school and going to university very soon. And that's exciting.
Is she the one going back to Germany?
No, this is our oldest is already in Germany since last year, since January of 2022. And our 17-year-old is going to Asheville, North Carolina. She was accepted and got the full ride at a beautiful little high university called Warren Wilson. It's one of 6 working colleges within the United States. So they have like a working farm, blacksmithing, woodworking, just to really, I think she would call it like a Birkenstock granola community. That's exact. That was her number one choice in universities, and she got in and got.
Oh, good for her. Yeah, it's an exciting time. It seems a long time ago when my kids were making these things. I had my children young, so they were both gone by the time I was 40. And now it's the grandchildren. So like they're halfway through school now, which kind of freaks me out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Well, my daughter is expecting her first child in September and she is 37. My kids left for university when I was 38. Oh, she's at the opposite end of the spectrum for me, for sure. Oh, well, I think her experience of motherhood of babies is going to be much different than mine.
For sure. Yeah.
What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you binging these days?
What am I reading? So my favorite read on a day-to-day basis are these cards. And I had a call with a client earlier. These are these beautiful Ganesha cards for the ones that can see it.
Oh, yes.
And it comes with a little booklet. So I choose a card every day and it gives me a little bit of guidance.
What's Ganesha?
Ganesha is a Hindu goddess.
Okay. Oh, yes.
And although I'm not a follower of the Hindu religion, I got these cards from a client of mine, and they're absolutely gorgeously laid out and beautifully illustrated. And there's always great wisdom that I can take for my everyday. Like number 25 is be candid. Like this is my card. What am I watching? I recently rewatched the documentary of Karl Lagerfeld, and I'm a big fan of Karl, who passed away not long ago. I'm a big fan of his designs. I'm a big fan of his tenacity. I'm a big fan of him just being unapologetically himself. And he was a deep.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen this, but it's 4 or 5 years old, that documentary, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that really, the first time that I watched it and rewatching it, it stood out again. What I took away was when he designs something, when he draws something, when he is inspired by something, he draws it, he implements the design, and then he destroys the design itself. And in that documentary, he says, I destroy it intentionally because I never want to be complacent. I never want to go back to something that I've already created. Right. And recreate that. I want to constantly stay on my toes and not get into complacency.
He likes like Paige.
That. Yeah.
Are you active in your community, volunteering, or?
I'm a big part of our neighborhood community. We are making sure that our community, we live inside the perimeter here in Atlanta, so we're very close to downtown and midtown to keep our little community of 160 houses here tidy and involved. And the Center of NLP, my business, is very involved with the local high school here, which is a public high school with 56 homeless families. And that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah. We're very involved with that. And I like to say anyone can write a check, and I like writing checks to support, but really rolling up your sleeves and being in it and doing, that's, I think for me, that's where real service comes from.
Yes. So I'm trying to picture these homeless families, like they're sending their kids to school on a daily basis, but they're living out of a car or something like that. They just don't have a home base.
Yeah.
And the school isn't providing accommodation or anything like that. Okay.
School cannot provide accommodation, but what they are providing, like we recreated the Center of NLP, and the entire team of the Center of NLP came in, and they gave us or themselves a full downstairs area where there's big rooms. They're not just classrooms. They're like bigger than classrooms that were empty. And we put in big bars where we can hang up clothes. Because they said, when I came to the school council, I said, we want to support. How can we support? And he said, we have all of this empty space downstairs, and the vision is that we will have a community closet. And I said, what is that? And he said, well, we have all of these clothes that we're getting donated, and toiletry things and books and all of these things, backpacks, but they're all in boxes.
Mm.
And they're stacked in this room. So we came in, we put in these big bars where we can hang up clothes. We put in shelves. So now we created like this store,
right,
where these families can come in, and they can come in one at a time. They can make an appointment with a school counselor. They come in one at a time and take time to go through, to try on. And it's just beautiful. I love it. What a great concept.
Sounds like a good resource.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well
so
done.
Now when anyone asks me, what can I do? I say, A, donate, B, go there and hang it up and put it in the shelves.
Good for you. Sounds like it was a lot of work, but well worth it.
It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of fun. Like the whole team, we blasted music. We had a really good time doing that. It felt really good. And it helped our team to also be stronger together.
Is there an app you couldn't live without?
An app that I couldn't live without. Okay, you're gonna laugh. It's gonna be so fun. So there's an app called Water Sorter. It is Water Sort. And it's basically these little, now I only know the German word, Reagenzglas. In chemistry class, when you had these little glass
Test tubes.
What are they? Test tubes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's an app, and it's filled. It's a game.
Okay.
But it's filled with 4 colors, and there might be 10 test tubes with different colors. And the goal is you can only change one color into another test tube on top of the same color. Yeah. So it's basically like chess, but not as demanding as chess, but maybe demanding in a different way. And I sometimes play that just to defrag. Like when I'm so overwhelmed with everything going on, I just take 5 minutes and I do that, and it helps me sort my thoughts.
Yes.
That's the app I can't live without. And I'm on level 1,930.
Well done.
My family makes fun of me. They're like, oh, Mom, there she goes again.
Good for you. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Is there an over 50s life hack that you'd like to share with the audience?
Over 50s life. Laugh.
Yes.
Laugh. Don't take yourself so serious. Take time off. I love my work. I love to work. I love to chill out. I love to hang out with friends and laugh. That's my life hack.
This has been 50 Women Over 50, a podcast for women whose personal confidence is born of experience. Thank you to my guest, executive leader, and award-winning coach and trainer, Brigitta Hoeferle. She certainly has a winning attitude about aging. She's planning to do it with dignity and to have fun in every inch of the journey, and I'm convinced she will too. Join me again next week, when my guest will be children's author Barbara Ann Mojica, whose husband left her after 30-some years of marriage, and yet she's never been happier. That's next week. But in the meantime, please drop me a rating or a review on Apple or wherever you get your podcast from. Let's connect and create a whole community of wise women over 50 by sharing a link to this show with your friends and connections. See you next time on 50 Women Over 50. I'm your host, Sherrilynne Starkie.